Hey, I'm Amanda from Trifecta Fitness. We're proud to be Clarksville's new Get Fit headquarters. Trifecta Fitness is a state-of-the-art spin and strength training studio. Our spin studio is truly one of a kind in this area, complete with 20 state-of-the-art live fitness bikes and an incredible sound system. Our strength training is done in small groups of 6 or fewer, and all of our strength and spin classes are scalable for every level of experience. Come see us in the heart of Clarksville, just behind MAPCO at the corner of Old Trenton Road and Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. Call us for more info at 931-542-6265 or download our Trifecta Fitness app for a full list of upcoming classes.
In October 2019, Arlington, Texas was chosen to be the home of a new national museum, unlike any other. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a unique home of military history. The 100,000 square foot museums will house exhibits, archives, and artifacts relating to the 3,500 U.S. troops who have been awarded the medal, the nation's highest honor for valor in combat. The museum will have 31,000 square feet of galleries dedicated to U.S. troops who have received the award. The museum CEO, former Navy SEAL and NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy, said the museum will focus on education as much as preservation. The building will have 5 areas dedicated to Medal of Honor winners from the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. The main gallery will be located in a central plaza under a 25,000 square foot slab of steel, which will appear to be suspended in midair. It will be supported by 5 pillars. Black Rifle Coffee is a corporate sponsor of the museum, as are the Dallas Cowboys. The museum's board also includes over a dozen major corporations and 6 Medal of Honor recipients, including David Bellavia, Patrick Brady, and Britt Slabinski. Army Staff Sergeant Bellavia was awarded the medal for clearing an entire house by himself on November 10, 2004, as a squad leader in support of Operation Phantom Fury in Fallujah, Iraq. He killed 4 enemy fighters and wounded a 5th in close quarters battle. Army Major General Brady flew and coordinated the evacuation of 51 seriously wounded men during a firefight in Vietnam in January 1968. Slabinski, a Navy SEAL chief and team leader, led a rescue team of SEALs during Operation Anaconda in Afghanistan in March 2002. Slabinski and his team flew to a mountaintop ambush site to rescue Petty Officer First Class Neil Roberts, who had fallen from the back of a helicopter. Slabinski led the team through almost constant combat against an entrenched Taliban force. Along with the board members, former presidents Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama serve as honorary directors. The museum is expected to open to the public in late 2024.
All right. Welcome back. MisFitNation. The MisFitNation show. We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the MisFitNation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the MisFitNation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the MisFitNation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the MisFitNation show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_MisFitNation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
All right. Welcome to the ToosDay Crue show. Tonight, you see me on camera. Tonight, I'm usually not on camera, but tonight is a bad night for the Misfit Nation, a sad night for the Misfit family. We lost one of our own this morning, Sergeant Donald Hole. I met him on the plains of the battlefields of Kandahar in 2010 and 11. He lost his fight with a medical issue this morning at about 3:30 this morning, 3:30, 4 o'clock this morning. He will truly be missed. Sergeant Hole, we got the watch now, brother. Till Valhalla. It's for you, brother. Also, we lost two young NCOs at Fort Campbell this past weekend. Sergeant Sage Gustafson, who's missing for a few days, and they found him. He was from Red Currahee, 1st and 506th. He passed away this weekend. Then Sergeant Nicholas Smith of the 101st Airborne Division died in a motorcycle accident within Clarksville. So keep their families and the Misfit Nation family in your thoughts, prayers, and let's have a great show tonight, guys, and keep the energy up and don't let this keep you down. So without further ado, let's bring in Cagney and Lacey and have a great show. Good night, fellas.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday night. Jake, how are you?
I am good. I am good. Got my coffee cup and everything's good to go. Sitting here, like I said earlier, sitting here waiting for my one-way trip to Oz. I keep looking outside and I don't know. It could happen.
Do you lose power easily there?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't take much for us to lose power here. So,
if I sneeze real hard,
if you sneeze real hard, yes, I could lose power. But you want to talk about our guest, or you want me to, or
I want you to. I've been reading, and I said this is a job for Jake to read. There's a whole lot.
Well, yes, very, very impressive bio. I am just going to hit the high points of it, and then we are going to bring our guest in. Our guest tonight, Jameka Whitten, journalist, branding consultant, publicist, and it says on here a couple times in her biography she's a vegan. We will definitely talk about that. I'm going to have to explore what that's all about. That's a word that's not in my vocabulary. So
we'll have cows eat grass, right?
Yes. Yes, my cows do eat grass. So
and the horses eat it too. There you go.
Yes. Yes. Jameka, how you doing this evening?
I am doing well. I'm actually thrilled to be here having this conversation with you two fine gentlemen.
I had like 18 paragraphs of stories about you, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not reading all that. Let Jake do that. And with his little bit that he gave, why don't you fill us in on the rest of it?
Well, I have been, oh goodness, where do I start? I've been a full-time entrepreneur since 2014. Prior to that, I was in the corporate world working in brand management, events, all sorts of stuff. I even did a stint for about 7 years at ESPN. So, you know, I like sports. I hang out with the fellas a lot. You know, that was a very male-oriented environment. So it was good training ground, though. It was great. Let's see. But I have had my PR and brand management company. I founded it in 2006. And again, I've been doing it full-time since 2014. And yeah, like anything that you need when it comes to branding or putting your name out there and getting getting mentioned in the press, I got you.
Oh, so you mean like the MisFitNation?
Oh my. This is going to be fun tonight. I can already tell.
Oh,
well, you know.
That's something we like to do is have fun.
Absolutely.
If it isn't fun, what's the sense of doing it? You know?
Oh, absolutely. True indeed. But yes, so I help small businesses. I help individuals, artists, pretty much anyone who needs to get their story told. I like to tell people that essentially I'm a storyteller. You know, I help create your narrative so that it's authentic and you're presenting your very best self to the world.
That's very cool.
Okay. So where you calling in from this evening?
I was born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I am still in Charlotte. Now, I did spend some time in Richmond, Virginia, and went to school in Chicago, so I kind of made a circle. But I am definitely a self-proclaimed Southern Belle.
Well, good deal, good deal. I have two daughters that live in North Carolina. They live in Elizabeth City.
Okay, I know Elizabeth City very well. A few hours from here, but definitely a good place, good people.
So how did you decide to leave the corporate world and just go out on your own?
Well, it was really simple for me. And the reason why is because for me, I've always known that I wanted to own my own business, even from a very young girl. You know, I was making potholders when I was like 7, 8 years old and selling them to the neighbors, these horribly designed and created potholders. And I'm just forcing people to buy them. I'm just like, hey, here you go. But, you know, I started doing that I had an entrepreneurial spirit since the beginning. So my jobs, although I enjoyed them, were always a means to an end. Like it was, I'm going to use this as a training ground. Now, that's not to say that I didn't give my all for my employers. I did,
Mm-hmm.
but I used it as on-the-job training for what I knew that eventually I wanted to direct my own path. And I just always wanted the freedom to do what I wanted to do and set my own agenda and help people in the best way possible. And I figured that was entrepreneurship all day long.
Okay. All right.
And that's the way to do it. That's get your foot in the door, use them for what you need to use them for, then step out and step up.
Absolutely. I mean, I had a great foundation academically, but it wasn't until I got into the trenches, so to speak, of the corporate world to really learn how to translate what I learned in the classroom to the real world.
Right.
Okay. I got all kind of questions, and I can ask all kind of questions. So what would be the process? Let's say I'm an artist.
Okay.
And what would be the process for me to come to you and say, okay, here's what I do for my art. How can we make me known?
That is a very good question, and I get that quite a bit. One of the things is I usually have an initial consultation with folks, and I sit there and I talk to them, and it's not your traditional consultation where I'm giving you a checklist of things that you need to have done. I sit and I try to gather people's core values. Like, I need to know where you are in terms of what do you find important, what's important in your life, not just business wise, but you holistically as an individual, because I don't do business with everyone. I have to be it's very specific. I want to work with people who I can see that spark that that they're truly working within their passion, you know? So I want it to be authentic, and I try to pull out who is the real you? And then once I figure out what those core business values and what those core personal values are, we kind of build upon that. And then I make sure that they align with what you say, who you say you are, you know, and basically brand building is trying to figure out who you want to be, who you really are, and what's important to you, and making that all mesh and meet in the middle somewhere. Like sweet spot is right in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah. Long convoluted answer to your question, but yes, if you're coming to me, I'm trying to ask questions. I'm a journalist first, so we're gonna talk, and we're gonna talk a lot.
Okay. All right. We have a question
There's a question. Oh my.
Yes.
I think I don't know if I'm ready, but I'm gonna try.
It's from Sam213 from Google. Who was your favorite personality at ESPN?
Now you're just trying to get me in trouble. All of them. They were all my favorites. Honestly, oh gosh, Greenie was, that was fun for me. Who else did I like? I like Sage Steele a lot, more so when she was still at ESPN than when she left after leaving. Because I don't think some of our values may not align as much now. But in terms of her talent and the way she presented herself on camera, I thought it was awesome. I thought she was great. But I liked a lot of the people behind the scenes that you didn't really know, like some of the production folks. I really like John Skipper. Like he was a great leader. Like it was, he was very cool to talk to. And I liked a lot of the folks who were in my local office that I worked, because I didn't work in Bristol. I worked in Charlotte, and we were the collegiate arm of the organization. So we were doing those collegiate events. So it was fun. It was good.
Very cool.
But you are not going to get me in trouble by having me say who's my favorite. Mm-mm.
Well, I'll say now.
How about this? On-air personality to off-air personality. Who was real and who was fake?
My PR answer. No, honestly,
they're all sunshine.
No. What I will say is that everyone that I encountered, and it's sometimes too many to name because I did a lot of on-site stuff, and it was a long time ago that I worked there. So, prior to 2014. So I can't remember everybody that I met, but I will say that people who came through that building were super nice, and they were about their business. Like on-air personalities were team members. We were all treated as team members equally. So it just varied on whether or not you were on TV. But it was, we all work for the mouse. We all work for Disney. So
yeah, but you read online and you see stories how a bunch of actors and singers where they're the greatest person when they're in an interview and you meet them on the street and it's like they flip you off and they walk away. But stories like, oh, they're just fantastic, and when you meet them it's like, if I had a knife I'd stab them.
I would say that that's more accurate for like my post ESPN life, when I started dealing with some of the celebs that I will not mention for NDA purposes.
Oh no, don't. Yeah.
But I will say that can be very true. There are some people that I encountered, particularly recently. I was at a red carpet event and I was completely turned off with how diva-like some of these folks were. But, you can't, class is something that you just innately have. It doesn't matter how much money or notoriety you have. So some people have class and some don't.
And I find it funny because at the end of the day, we're the ones that make them what they are, because if we don't buy their albums, if we don't go to their movies, they're nobody.
That is true.
And you meet them on the street and they're like, yeah, go away. And like,
And I think you can tell a lot by someone with how they treat service folks. So like people who are, how they treat hotel staff, how they treat restaurant staff, how they treat that janitor who's cleaning up their dressing room, how they treat everyday folks is very indicative on how they are as a person. And fortunately, I have a lot of friends who are celebrity publicists, and they haven't had that experience. They deal with, like, excuse my language, but the a-holes, they deal with them on a regular basis. And fortunately, I haven't had to do that. Like, the people that I've encountered have been very cool.
And that's also because, like you said, your long interview process where you're going to talk to them and you're going to find out everything about them, because you're not going to deal with that also.
The first sign that there is something not right Jameka is out of there. I'm like, yeah, thank you so much, but I don't think this is gonna work because I'm not motivated. Now, don't get me wrong. I like money. I like it to come into my account because I like to buy things. However, I'm not motivated by money, if that makes sense.
Good deal.
That makes a lot of sense.
But if you want to give it to me, I'm just saying I'm not motivated by it.
Got another question.
Okay.
We got them rolling in here this evening from Delilah 1492. There's a lot of PR firms out there, especially people on social media, who make the claim to be the top dog in the yard. What separates you from the rest of them?
I don't talk about being the best. I let my work speak for itself, and I allow people to make their own decisions. I get on social, and what you get on social media is exactly what you see right here in this interview, right? What you see when I'm walking around in the grocery store. It's all, I try to be as authentic as possible because I can't do fakeness. So, and I also have, one of I talk about core values for my clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one of my core values are excellence, integrity. Those two things. I have to operate in excellence at all times. And I also have to be honest, sometimes to a fault, with what I can do, what I can't do, and what I expect of those around me.
Okay. Now, you talk about all the positive things. Now, what if for some reason you have a client that somebody gets out there, puts something bad about them out there, and they need to clean that up? What's kind of the process for that?
First thing I always do is call the client and tell them to be quiet, to shut up as quickly as possible, and
stay off of TikTok.
I have a running joke with my clients. The running joke is, call me first, I'll call your lawyer. Be quiet. Like, I am the first line of defense. I need to know everything. Do not lie to me. Tell me everything. This is a no judgment zone. And even if I'm judging a little bit in the back of my head, I'm not going to do it outwardly. Like, this is...
You're judging 100%. You're just not being forward about it.
Well, they still need to feel comfortable, and I want them to talk to me. Like, I want them to tell me everything. Now, I'm going to give them the truth, though. I'm going to be like, you should not have done that. That was a bad idea. But everything can be, most things can be forgiven if you are truly coming from that place. I usually tell them to come to me first. We have to lay everything out, be extremely honest about what's going on. They have to be open to criticism, and they have to listen to me. I'll do kind of a survey, an environmental scan to see what's really happening out there on social, in the news, to see how bad the situation is. And then we usually take a moment. You don't want to do a knee-jerk reaction. You want to take that moment, take that pause to really get your thoughts together. And sometimes it's just as simple as issuing a sincere apology or making a true explanation of why you did what you did. Sometimes it varies from situation to situation on how it's handled. But one of the things that you have to do is be extremely honest about the situation. You need to let your publicist or your PR professional or whomever know exactly what's going on. And then you also need to get the right counsel, right? So like if it's a legal issue, make sure you involve your lawyer. If it's something with just get whoever the stakeholders are within that company or within your circle, and make sure you talk to everybody and make sure everyone's on the same page so that when statements are made, it's streamlined and you're not putting your foot in your mouth.
Okay. Bottom line is call you and keep your mouth shut.
Please do not say one more word. Not one more word, please.
Okay. All right.
I would be quiet for a long time.
And sometimes that means you get to be quiet for the rest of your career. Sometimes.
Because I have that problem where it's in there and it just shoots out sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you
I
did it.
changed. I have been known to change a password or two to someone's social media if I have access to it. All of a sudden, I can't get into my social media, my Twitter account or my Instagram. Really? I don't know what happened. We'll reset it for you later.
Yes, silence is golden.
Give me a week.
It really is. And you can't be afraid to be quiet because you need to listen. And when you're talking and talking and talking, you're not always actively listening.
That's my dad had he said, son, he said, if your mouth is open, your ears are closed. And so, yes. We got another question here. It says, you said you had the entrepreneurial bug since you were younger. What is the best part of it? And of course, what is the shortfalls of being an entrepreneur?
Okay, so funny enough, it's the same thing. Freedom and freedom. So freedom that you get to set your own schedule, do what you want, have your own objectives, but freedom sometimes means that you have you don't necessarily like have that structure of stability when it comes to finances, and you're constantly on the grind where you're always looking for the next client or looking for the next opportunity, and you don't have that comfort of just having that paycheck that someone else is dealing with. The infrastructure is dealt with someone else when you're not an entrepreneur, right? So like your paycheck comes, you do the work, your paycheck comes. When you're an entrepreneur, you do the work, you have to do payroll, you have to make sure your taxes are paid, you have to make sure that your structure is right, you have to wear so many different hats that yes, you have the freedom of all that, but that freedom is also constraining.
It comes with a lot of responsibility. Freedom does.
It does.
And that's with anything.
Yep.
And that's it. What I say, freedom's never free.
Freedom is never free, but I would not, I couldn't go back. Like I've done, I'm currently doing some part-time things, like some long-term contracts that could be considered like part-time roles. And it's great, but the only reason why I could do it is because they still gave me the freedom to run my own business, to do the things that I want to do, to have my main job still be working with my clients each and every day and setting my own schedule.
Yes. Okay. Here's the question that I said that I was going to ask.
Woo, bring it on. I'm ready.
Okay. You're known as the stylish vegan.
I am. Don't let today's attire fool you. Sometimes I actually look a little bit more pulled together, but I put some lip gloss on for y'all.
And that's pretty much two words that well, I'm not very stylish, but I can't wrap my head around the vegan thing. I respect it, but wow, how do you do that?
It's fairly easy for me. I was actually raised vegan. I am one of those unicorns whose parents, I always said, they decided to experiment, and I was the experiment. But it was very interesting, and I'll be honest about it and transparent. Growing up Black, vegan, and Southern, that was pretty special when you think about it, because my whole family eats everything. Like they eat it all. But my mom and dad decided first, they didn't even call it vegan at first because they didn't even know the name. They just were studying various ways to cut down on health related things. And so my dad was like, I need to cut down on, like, my heart disease runs in my family. I want to live, I want to make sure that I'm here a little bit longer. and cancer and all these other things, were running rampant in both sides of my family. And they were like, what can we do differently that could extend our lives? And unfortunately, both of my parents passed. But what I realized is that they lived long enough to have me. And both of them were dealing with things that really should have ended their lives way earlier. And so their diet and that mental change really extended their lives, which, obviously I'm very pleased because I'm here.
Yes.
So that's good. But I also tell people I was literally born in compassion. Veganism is about compassion for all sentient beings. And just knowing that while you can, it's not necessary to kill to eat. It's not necessary to take another being's life to live, and that we can all live in a harmonious way. And that is also, studies have proven that, it's pretty good for the environment too, especially now that we're dealing with all of these things, like the grain consumption and the water crisis. There's just so many things that people don't talk about when it comes to factory farming and the effect that it has on the land and in the environment. So, there's there's levels to this thing. So, but I kind of started from just wanting to live a more compassionate life.
Okay. All right.
And my question being the slow guy in the room, you have somebody go to a store and buy, say, a near burger that has this chemical and this chemical and this chemical mixed with beans to make it taste like a burger. Why not just go buy a burger instead of eating all those chemicals?
Right. And that's a fair question, right? The thing is, a lot of people don't stop eating meat because they don't like the taste of meat. They stop eating meat because they don't want to have to kill an animal. And so
Right.
you can find a different way to still enjoy the taste, the texture, and the flavorings. Because let's be real, meat, and obviously I'm not the best person to talk to since I was raised vegan. It's a little different.
Right.
But my mom and dad both ate meat. My family eats meat. Raw meat has no taste. It's about how it's prepared. It's about the seasonings. It's about all of that. So if you can mimic that in any way and you're still being good to the environment, that's what a lot of people are going for.
Okay. Now, I will say that I am on board with you with the factory farming. My wife and I, we raise all of our own meat. And hopefully it's a little healthier for us, because we know what our animals are eating, and know what we feed them and don't feed them, and no hormones, nothing like that. But I'm not a big fan of the factory farm thing.
It's a lot. I'm working with a couple of different organizations now that, we're trying to end that in factory farming, but not because we know realistically, yes, I would love for everybody to go vegan because I think it would be cool, right? But realistically, we know that that's not going to happen. But if we can at least ease some of the suffering that some of these animals are going through, I mean, it's just like really bad treatment at these factory farms. It's like, it's just really bad when you have chickens that can't even move, and being pumped so full of antibiotics and all these different things, and they're being plumped up and then it's being fed to us. It's like no one cares about what we're feeding our country. And I think that that's where the travesty is, right? So like if we can help that process in any way, it's a win for everyone. So it's a win for those farmers who are like trapped in this in these contracts, and they it's overwhelming trying to keep up with what they have to get done financially, right? And then also they're seeing the factory workers who are in there smelling all these chemicals, all these things happening to them. It's not a healthy environment. And then also the animals, like if we can do whatever we can to just kind of ease some suffering and trying to make things even just a little bit better for ourselves, the environment, the planet, and the animals, I don't see a downside to that. Plus, everybody needs to eat more vegetables in regardless. So we can't be mad.
Yeah, that is 100% true.
Yeah.
But I like my vegetables on top of my steak.
But it's one of those things where I think I come from a different vantage point because I've been
you never had it.
Never had it, yes. But also been raised this way. So I've been surrounded by so many non-vegans my entire life that I have a tendency to meet people where they are, and so my whole job is not to convince you. My job is to just live and just be an example, teach by example. So you're going to know that I'm authentic. Everything I do is real because you're going to see it every day. I'm not just putting on a show for social media or, for people just to say, oh, look, I'm trendy, I'm cool, I don't eat meat, and look at how nice I am. Like that's not it. It's, oh, well, what are you eating? And I always get people because I cook really well, right? So like people come for Thanksgiving. My mom was an excellent cook. All of this, like they come in and that's how you get them. You get them with the good food, and they're just like, oh, and then before they know it, half of their food is vegan on a regular basis, and then I have them in my web, and then it's all
You are under the spell.
All right, hey, we got a couple more questions here from Google. Mike Aloha.
Okay.
Oh, wrong one. Sorry.
That's okay, Stephen.
There you go.
Wants to know, who was your biggest mentor as you started to develop your brand?
Honestly, it was my mom. My mom was my biggest mentor because she told me, well, she just lived her life in full color at all times. And
Cool.
She was my biggest inspiration. And, she had a little bit of hippie to her. She was a singer, but she later on in life, before she passed, she decided to receive the call and stop running and became an evangelist. So, it was, so I was like, of course, you're going to wait till I'm grown and now I'm a preacher's kid. Great. Like, so, I had like, it was a really interesting way to grow up. And that's a whole nother subject, being in the church after church, going Sunday dinners and not eating pork and beef and all that kind of stuff. So, that's a whole nother conversation for another day.
Oh yeah, because like when I was a kid, every Sunday, I don't care what we had some sort of chicken. It didn't matter. It fried, baked, chicken and dumplings. We had some kind of chicken every Sunday.
Listen, that yard bird gonna get you. It's hard. It's hard. They like it. People love it. And, and I understand that. And I think part of how I present things is I understand that food is part of culture,
Yes.
and so with that, you have to respect cultures and you have to respect where people are. So like when you're introducing new things, hence going back to Stephen, your earlier comment about like, why do a burger when you can just have a real burger, right? It's easing people in and making things that are familiar to them so that and then also it's a slow education of your palate, because yes, things are going to taste slightly different. The textures are going to be different, but you still want to get something that's similar to kind of ease into that transition. Okay. So people don't freak out. They're like, what is this? And you're just like, well, it's sort of like like the best way I can say is it tastes like chicken, or this is a fried chicken type of thing. Like, it's just so that people can identify it better.
Or just give me a few drinks, put the food in front of me, and I eat it. I really don't even look at it.
Listen, my mom used to always tell me, get them while they're hungry or drunk or both. And
Hey,
it works.
drunk and hungry, you'll eat about anything.
Listen, I have a full house during Thanksgiving every year, and most of the people who come to my house are not vegan, but they come, and I mean, I'm not trying to brag. I mean, I'm popping my collar a little bit, but yes, you know, I throw down a little bit. My greens are excellent, so I
gotta say,
to send y'all some greens in my cornbread or something.
98% of that is your personality. That's why they come, because you're just out there.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Our next question does deal with food. Growing up in the South, we all eat fried everything. Did you miss out on that, or was it replaced with vegetables?
It was replaced with fried vegetables and like fried things. Like, you know, I still had like the hush puppies and the you know, different kinds of like one of my favorite veggie fried dishes that isn't really good for you because all the nutrients are gone by the time you do this is fried okra. I love fried okra.
Oh, yes.
Oh my goodness. Oh, the fried okra it does something to me, and I do fried green tomatoes. I do a couple of like fried chicken substitutes that are made from the basis is made from a wheat. You can either make it from wheat or you can do a soy based, you know, kind of like you take the tofu, but you got to do stuff to the tofu. I tell people, if please don't go have tofu with someone and you're gonna think that's all veganism. Don't do it. Don't have some plate, because I see people in the grocery store all the time just picking up these packs of tofu, and I'm like, you're not gonna like it. That's not a good look. You got to do something to it. You have to do things, and that's
you have to dress that baby up and make it look pretty.
Yes, you just can't just present. No, that's not gonna work for you.
You can't put that white square on a plate with vegetables around it. Say there's dinner.
And you know, and it's experimenting with different flavors. Like I love so many different types of like Asian food, Middle Eastern food, different kinds of, you know, start playing around in the kitchen is what I would do. And the best way to kind of transition is you start with whatever your favorite type of food is, right? And then you try to veganize it. So like if you really like scrambled eggs in the morning, then there's plenty of egg substitutes now that you could just like slowly, you try to do one thing, you know, maybe not go cold turkey, right? Because that's when it doesn't work for folks. But you know, meatless Mondays is a great way to get started. And then you can slowly start to just eliminate. I always say, like, eliminate things from your diet. Like maybe don't drink cow's milk this month or this week and substitute it with oat milk. And I promise you, it's not as bad as it seems. I promise.
That's something I gotta have. We got our own milk, and so that's,
well, you know where your milk is coming from.
Yes, it's raw. Nothing is done to it. Yeah, but we do have days that we don't eat meat, so it's
definitely possible. I think people just get so intimidated when you tell them, like, you know, it's almost like they get angry with me when I tell them that I don't eat meat, and I'm just like, they're like, well, I could never do that. I'm like, I didn't ask you to, but thank you.
See, that's what I don't understand.
We've been chatting for 43 minutes. That's all I got out of it. You stop eating meat. That's it. I'm looking at you like I'm listening to her.
You know, we've got people here with a different point of view. We're having a conversation about it, and nobody's getting angry. Why can't everybody do this?
I mean, they don't all have my shining personality either. Just saying. No, I think that people
are afraid to change.
They're afraid to change. And what we talked about earlier, people don't actively listen. They listen to respond, as opposed to listen to actually understand. And when you can come to the table and just have open dialogue, then guess what? You actually find common ground eventually. And there's something you're going to agree on. You know,
yeah.
It's it just happens naturally in conversation and getting to know people and realizing that at the end of the day, we are all, I mean, like the blood cells are the same, like the tissue is the same, you know, that we have different experiences, and it's about acknowledging it, though. I think the problem is when people try to say, you know, and not to bring it down to race, but like this is the first example that comes to my head, you know, like, I don't see color. Yes, you do. You do. And it's okay. I think that's the part where people, they don't realize that it's okay to see differences and talk about the differences, as long as it's in a good place and you're coming from a place of understanding.
And if everybody was the same, think how uninteresting life would be.
Oh my goodness, I'd have no job.
No, you would not.
I would not have a job. I would not have a career.
So, if I want you to be my PR person, how do I get in contact with you?
Well, I have a website. It's JSW Media Group.com. You can come on the website and fill out that contact us page, but you can also hit me up on social media and follow me on social. The company Instagram page is JSW Media, or you can contact me directly at Jameka Shame, which is JAMEKA SHAMAE, and that is my personal Instagram, and I respond to all messages. You can also do a search on LinkedIn, but I am open. Please, everybody, send me a note. Let me know what you're thinking. We can set up a consultation and see what happens, and we can have one of those nice long conversations and discussions and see if there's synergy and if we actually like each other and want to go on another date.
Now, I won't be contacting you because I don't need a PR person. But I might be contacting you for a recipe or two.
And you know what? I'll probably have one for you. I will. And my sister is a vegan chef here in Charlotte.
Oh, okay.
She's got plenty of recipes too, and I used to rep some vegan chefs, so I got a little bit of an arsenal of some things.
All right. I'm always open to. I like to eat, so.
And there, Jake, is our common ground right there, because I am a foodie.
Good deal. Good. Now you got to tell.
You're a foodie, and I eat food. There we go. We can get married now.
Yes, we chilling right now. We're good. We're good right now.
Okay. On Thanksgiving. Okay. Somebody just popped a question up there. They want to know, how do we make a brand like the MisFitNation explode?
I mean, I feel like y'all exploding already, but like it's just about expanding it to an even wider audience and just figuring out tactics and ways to get it popping even more on various platforms on social, and figuring out various media angles to make the larger press know what's going on, and kind of fitting it into whatever's going on in the world and sliding in that way and getting those stories and getting those interviews and really telling your story to a broader audience.
Good deal.
Bring some plates to Fayetteville.
Yes. Myself and Mr. The Nation will be in Fayetteville next week. So feel free to feed us.
And you know, unfortunately, I will be out of town next week. But
yeah, there we go.
however, what I will do is give y'all a couple of names of some vegan restaurants, soul food ones. I believe we have some in Fayetteville, because I mean, I'm just saying, you need to do Southern or soul if you're starting off on the vegan journey. Like you can expand your palate in other ways afterwards, but you might need some good greens and some good cornbread and some good,
that's a staple at our house. Is we eat a lot of greens and cornbread. Now, generally it's got ham hocks in it, but you know,
I got a substitute for that. We all good.
Okay. Now I do have a question about your Thanksgiving table, though.
Yes.
On the pies, pumpkin or sweet potato or both?
Sweet potato. I'm a sweet potato person.
Rock on. That's
not do sweet potato and candy yams. So candy yams and sweet potatoes are going to be on the table.
Yeah, that is my favorite pie.
And I make a really good one. That one, if we're ever in the same vicinity, I'll make sure you got some pie.
Okay. All right. Jameka, this has been wonderful.
I have enjoyed myself with y'all so much. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You are so welcome.
Thank you for being a big ray of sunshine.
Yes.
There's some people out there that you have to push.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's me and Jake, but
and I do.
Conversation flowed really good.
I almost forgot to tell y'all, I am working on a stylish vegan book to talk about my story and, just kind of growing up this way and my parents and, just what it's like. And it'll be all about identity and food and being Southern and being a woman and being Black and how that all fits together and how there's commonalities for everyone.
Well, when you get that published, reach out to us and
we'll have you right back on.
We'll have you on again and push your book.
Yay. Well, thank you. I'm so glad I remembered to say something.
Yes. Well, hey, we're going to pop on out of here. If you can just hang out in the green room and we'll pop back on after we get off the air. And right. I just want to remind everybody, like and subscribe. And thank you for joining us this evening. Stephen.
And thank you for being so great. It was fun talking.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank y'all so much.
See you on the flip side.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Did you serve in the military? If so, you can obtain a free lifetime pass to more than 2,000 federal recreation sites. These sites are located across more than 400 million acres of public lands, including national parks, wildlife refuges, and forests. The lands host activities to fit any lifestyle: hiking, biking, fishing, camping, and much more. Gold Star families are also eligible for these free lifetime passes. Plus, they cover entrance fees for a driver and all passengers in a car, or up to 3 additional adults at sites that charge per person. Obtaining one is easy. Just go to the National Park Service website, nps.gov, or the National Park Service app.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.